Everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic day. We just voted on a Senate bill. Yes, they passed it. $2.5 trillion there, and you better make sure you get some deadlines. By the end of this month, you could lose out if you don't get what I'm going to tell you about. This deadline, don't miss it. Californians and New Yorks are reinstating their indoor mask mandate, and Omicron concerns continue to rise into the orbit. Manchin signals major changes needed to win his support for Biden's safety net plan. He wants to know and be convinced. Also, we've got that death toll now rising to 88, including the 74 dead in Kentucky. This is terrible, right? Huge news. Those two bills, those exciting two new bills, we're going to talk about them. And I'll be introducing the SBA loan program that will change everything. This decision is a bipartisan effort between Republicans and Democrats. Like, is that possible? What planet are you guys on? Democrats, Republicans working together. These changes include more protections as well as working towards streamlining the process, the application process. We're going to fix that. Find out what these two bills are and what they mean. And in the SBA, acting like it's running by a bunch of drunken sailors, end quote. That's a direct quote. Quote, acting like it's run by a bunch of drunken sailors. Boy, I wish our country was run by a bunch of drunken sailors. It might be a lot more fun, right? Wouldn't it be more fun? Like, we'd be jolly. My name is Andrew Cartwright, and this is your stimulus, unemployment, PPP, EIDL, second PPP loan, and small business grant update. Stimulus bills, and we'll cover it. We'll just cover it. News here. My goal is to give you the best information to access government and private money for yourself, your loved ones, and your business. If you Google private equity Las Vegas, you're going to see me pop up, which is money's my game, folks. That's what I'm into. That's what I do. 67,000 applications last year with loan programs, 12 of them, 75 different banking partners. If you need money, want money, up to $5 million, really super low rates. It's in the description. My company, Capital Velocity, will hook you up, get you some money. Also on this channel, tell you about how to get that government money as well. So that's what we're all about money, personal finance, real estate, stock market, crypto, investments to generate you income, save you money, and help you out in business and in your personal life. Also, I'm giving away $2,000. All you have to do to win the $2,000 is join the channel if you like it, subscribe, like the video. It super helps out with the YouTube algorithm. It helps so much. I can't tell you how much it makes a big difference. Make sure you hit that like button. Throw a comment in the comment section. We're going to pick a random comment, and we're going to launch out $2,000 when we hit 200,000 subscribers. Also, 10 left. My real estate program, $99. When to buy, how to buy, market cycles for $99. It's a $10,000 course. I've been telling you about it. It's going to go up in price. It's just what we got to do. We're launching another program on starting a business, running a business. It's a big program. We've been working really hard on it. So got that coming up for you guys. So Republican Senator John Kennedy, not to be confused with the former U.S. President of the United States, and Tim Scott just today have introduced the Protecting Access to Credit for Small Business Act. Yes, a new act for small businesses. A new act. The goal is to stop Democrats from turning the SBA into a direct lender for the 7A program through their partisan spending plan. Yep, they don't want that. They don't want that. They want to keep it going to the banks. Been working with banks on 504 and 7As for, God, almost a decade now. Kennedy said, quote, fraud and inefficiency characterizes the small business associations, administration's history in direct lending. The government shouldn't encroach on the space where private lenders are already doing a good job getting funds to small businesses that need them. Not to mention they love that government guarantee. Yep, if they do a loan, the government guarantees 90% of that loan. This would be a huge revenue loss for the banks. So don't be confused by what they're really saying. What they're really saying is banks don't want to lose this money. And who do you think's buying Washington votes? Who do you think buys them? Banks, insurance companies, and oil companies. It's what it's all about. Well, he said, I'm a proud partner with Senator Scott to stop, Kennedy said this, Scott to stop the SBA from replacing community and other private lenders with bureaucrats, end quote. Kennedy went on to say that he doesn't believe in, quote, forcing the bank and credit unions to compete with massive government agencies. Basically, they wouldn't be able to compete because government agencies don't have to make money. Kennedy also said, quote, "This is just another example of Democrats' misguided plan for the big government takeover of eventually every aspect of American life and private institutions," end quote. Yep. So the SBA is the fastest way for people to upward mobility in business. That's why I use it. That's why I've helped so many people. If the government had it, I don't know. Maybe it would be better. This act would be blocked by the SBA from issuing direct 7A loans, and also 24 other Republicans co-signed the bill. Number of Democrats, obviously. So we're not going to see the government take it over, not yet anyway. Meanwhile, another bill in the works, and it's a little more than a bipartisan effort. U.S. Senator Jim Risch, R-I-S-C-H. What is that? Risch? Yep. He's a Republican from Ohio, and from Idaho, not Ohio. Sorry about that. And John Hickenlooper, he's a Democrat from the great state of Colorado, introduced the bipartisan Streamline EIDL Act to improve the economic injury disaster relief loan, that EIDL loan that we talk about, not the PPP. This is the loan for 3.75 that lasts for 30 years to help out businesses. It also is going to help out Kentucky when they go to rebuild. There's going to be money for them now. Even in Nevada, we've got funding for it if you're in a drought area, which is pretty much everybody. This should also combat the problematic, ridiculous problem we've had with fraud. The SBA will require to provide even more timely and helpful resources to applicants. Then they must submit a report to Congress about how it's addressing fraud within the program, answering to Congress, saying, hey, what you guys doing? Republican senators like Robert Marshall, a Republican, and John Kennedy, a Republican from Louisiana, along with Democrats like Catherine Cortez Masto from Nevada, our own House member here, have also supported this bill. According to the Senator Ruskin, quote, "Small businesses in Idaho have struggled to get meaningful answers to the EIDL application from the SBA. They're forced to submit the same document multiple times, receiving vague and ambiguous responses from the agency, just not even really understandable, and in some cases have to contend with fraudsters submitting false applications on their behalf," end quote. Sometimes the fraudsters are even better at being than you. Imagine that. In other words, the EIDL program is a bit chaotic. I'm sure a lot of you are realizing that by now, if you've tried to access it. If you're a small business owner who was affected by the pandemic, then you know what I'm talking about. Risk continued, the Streamline EIDL Act will go a long way to fixing the flaws in the EIDL application process and make the disaster loans accessible to small businesses, end quote. Senator Hickenlooper believes that the bill will help businesses stay open and prevent fraud, a quote, win-win, end quote, in a way. The SBA has apparently failed to offer timely updates on pending applications, and a ton of other small business owners are left in limbo. You might be one of those, especially if you're watching this video. They just don't know if it can make ends meet with the small business finance responsibility. So the Streamline EIDL Act is likely to improve the SBA's communication while, improving the prevention of fraud measures within their own agency. The Streamline EIDL Act will also add new, just common sense deadlines for EIDL programs. Basically, the goal with this is to streamline the EIDL process, just making it easier overall. I'd love to know your thoughts. What do you think about this? And finally, as you talked about quite a few times on the channel, the SBA approves loans up to $2 million right now. The EIDL loans, you have until December 31st. The deadline is coming. It is approaching. They wanted you to have it in by December 10th. I said, look. Do it. Well, they still want you to do it. This is something that you can do still. Just contact the SBA and get the amount increased to $2 million if you're approved. Of course, Amy Kaiser, CEO of multiplefunding.com, believes that the SBA, quote, risk spending money just to spend money. Wow. We still haven't talked about multiple bankruptcies that will be coming after these. What do you guys think about what all this means? Well, he's concerned that the SBA is giving loans to some companies that have actually done really well during the pandemic. In other words, they've had more chaos in order with the SBA and the EIDL. It's pretty much any business can get approved. Apparently, the SBA doesn't really require much proof on how economic injury got to you. Well, that was part of it, right? Kaiser said, quote, it feels like the SBA is extending the application deadline until the end of 2021, is acting like a corporate department rushing to spend its budget to the last quarter of the year because it doesn't want to look bad for not spending its money. End quote. Interesting. Still going to us. He doesn't necessarily believe that the business should have had to rely on this government money. There were many businesses that had a plan of savings in place for tough seasons and continue to work hard and do everything they can to stay afloat, and it still wasn't enough. Programs like the PPP and EIDL for so many businesses were literally a lifeline, which I get hugs, kisses, and people running up to me all the time about how I help them all over the United States. The fear is that people are grabbing EIDL loans as a measure of getting money, even if they don't necessarily need it. So here's the concern about whether or not raising the EIDL cap was the right move. Kaiser said, quote, inevitably there will be a few businesses called out for fraud, but the odds of that being a slim to none. The SBA doesn't have the capacity to review every loan and therefore will continue to get anything without repercussions for their actions. This probably will happen. So forget what he said. What do you guys think about this? Are you relieved that there's access to this government money? Do you think they dropped the ball? Do you think they should still offer this money? And do you think it's fair that if you filled out the application all the way that it's supposed to be done, that they can come after you for fraud? I'd love to know your thoughts. I'm Andrew Cartwright. Take care of your thoughts. I'm Andrew Cartwright. Take care of your Everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic day. We just voted on a Senate bill. Yes, they passed it. $2.5 trillion there, and you better make sure you get some deadlines. By the end of this month, you could lose out if you don't get what I'm going to tell you about. This deadline, don't miss it. Californians and New Yorks are reinstating their indoor mask mandate, and Omicron concerns continue to rise into the orbit. Manchin signals major changes needed to win his support for Biden's safety net plan. He wants to know and be convinced. Also, we've got that death toll now rising to 88, including the 74 dead in Kentucky. This is terrible, right? Huge news. Those two bills, those exciting two new bills, we're going to talk about them. And I'll be introducing the SBA loan program that will change everything. This decision is a bipartisan effort between Republicans and Democrats. Like, is that possible? What planet are you guys on? Democrats, Republicans?